Jonathan Fanton. I have been president of the New School for Social Research in New York City, which is well known for starting a university in exile to rescue scholars from Nazi persecution during the 1930s, and later was president of the MacArthur Foundation, which works in 60 countries around the world on human rights, peace and security, conservation, and population.
So, throughout the long history of this organization, have you been involved with issues related to scholars in the Middle East and North Africa?
I have personally been most active in East and Central Europe during my time as chairman of Helsinki Watch. So my personal grounding has come in the former Soviet Union and that region. Although Scholars at Risk has been active all around the world and very particularly in this region. I also was chairman of Human Rights Watch's Committee on International Academic Freedom, and one of the first cases we took up was here in Tunisia in 1997. So I have done some work in the region.
Do you see similarities between what happened in Eastern Europe and what's actually happening in the Middle East and North Africa?
I think the process of democracy takes time, and it's uneven. A step forward, a step back, high expectations in the beginning, then some disappointments when it takes longer to put together a stable democratic system. So I do see some similarities. But if you ask me, am I optimistic about Tunisia, I am. I believe Tunisia really has within its power the opportunity to be the inspiration for the whole region. The Arab Spring will have uneven consequences, but Tunisia can be a bright light of a country that moved from an authoritarian regime to a stable democratic system. And I do believe that universities that are autonomous, where academic freedom is respected, can play an essential role in this evolution. And that was the central theme of the remarks that I made at the conference.
Do you feel that during this transition towards a better Tunisia, if we can say, Tunisia will need support, and what kind of support will it need?
Well, we live in a world where all countries need support, including our own, the United States. We live in a world in which we need to think globally. We need to respect and participate in setting international standards. We need to educate our young people to have cosmopolitan sensibilities, to understand the rest of the world, to speak different languages, to be comfortable dealing with complexity, able to seize opportunity, whether it be here at home or in a neighboring country or across the globe. So education plays an important role in educating our young people to work in a globally connected world.
If a country, whether in Eastern Europe or in the region, is taking the wrong way into managing this transition, from an academic perspective, what would be the warning signs for you?
Well, let me start with the positive. The draft Constitution, Article 30, is clear in its statement of support for academic freedom. So if the Constitution, as drafted with protections for academic freedom, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, other freedoms that are essential to human rights and human dignity. If the Constitution as drafted goes through, that would be a good sign. If Article 30 is limited or contravened by other articles that put limits and establish exceptions and thus compromise academic freedom, that would be a warning sign.
When you look at Tunisia or the North African region from New York, how do you feel like the academic world in the eastern region, East Coast, I would say, of the United States, look at this region? Do you feel the ties are strong? Do you feel they understand it well? How do you evaluate the relationship between North Africa and the universities on the East Coast?
I believe that there is respect, growing interest, not enough deep knowledge, but a desire to learn more and to form partnerships with universities throughout the region. So I'm very much in favor of encouraging visitations back and forth. And in fact, a young student approached me today from this university asking my help with his dissertation. He is interested in studying social movements in the United States. And I have agreed to read his prospectus and to help him. But I think this is what it's about, being present in each other's lives, being open-minded and with an open heart, and wanting to help and learn from each other. So I will follow up with the student, and I hope I can help him.
You say that you were hopeful about Tunisia's future in this transition. Does that mean that you are not so sure about the rest of the countries who are undergoing what we call now the Arab Spring? How do you see this phenomenon of that we now call of Arab awakening or the Arab winter, or how do you see it from where you are and where you see it going?
I'd rather confine my observations to Tunisia because I know Tunisia better and am here and am learning. And so I know enough to be able to say I think the prospects in Tunisia are stronger than in many places. But I also, as an historian, understand that change takes time, and it's very common for people, including the United States people, after a revolution to believe that democracy will come overnight, but it doesn't. And it's easy to fall into despair prematurely when early expectations are not realized. Just think of the United States. It took maybe 30 years after the revolution or more to develop a stable two-party system. We had to fight a civil war over slavery. We didn't recognize the right of women to vote for well over a century after independence, even though our Constitution established very high ideals for equality. So in my own country, I have seen a 200-year plus evolution from the goals of the revolution to a society that begins to keep faith with those ideals. And the job is not done. America still has a ways to go to live up to its high ideals.